Hi, I'm Monica.
And I'm Dunya.
Welcome to Sip It, a podcast by SnaptureThis and CreatorClub focused on all things entrepreneurship and cafe culture. Co-hosted by besties and business owners Monica and Dunya.
This podcast will be where we chat all things Toronto, from the cafe and restaurant scene to entrepreneurship and small businesses. We'll be bringing on amazing business owners, influencers, and storytellers from all across Ontario to share their story.
We're recording from CreatorClub, a hub for big ideas, quality content, and impactful stories. The community of creatives is headquartered here in Toronto, connecting brands with a curated group of creators to produce content at scale.
Now it's time to grab a coffee
And sip it. All right, welcome back, everyone. We are here today with a freaking legend in the coffee industry.
Indeed.
We have Sam from Sam James Coffee with us today. This is like such a moment for me. So not only did he bring us coffee and coffee beans, but like having you come on is like super cool to me. So
well, thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for coming on. You are literally like a legend in the industry.
You stick around long enough, you become one. I guess.
You're totally crushing it. And so I'll let you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about the business, and we'll run through some questions with you.
Okay. Well, my name is Sam James, and I named my business after myself.
Very creative.
Very humble.
Yeah, I ran out of ideas. I was looking around, and all the good coffee shop names were taken. So
No, it's good. It rolls off the tongue. It's great.
I just went straight for the passport. But I opened that first store in 2009, so it's been almost 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it'll basically be around 14 years that I first signed the lease, like in May.
Wow.
That's
So happy 14 years
Thanks.
almost.
Yeah, no, it flies by.
And the first location is
297 Harvard, the
Amazing,
original one.
amazing.
Yeah, the checker floor.
amazing. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about like how many locations you have, the roastery.
Well, right now I have 4 shops. That one, the original location, I have one in the Path, which is at 150 King Street, just where I got these from.
Yeah.
I have one on Ossington Avenue, where I see you all the time.
Yeah.
And then I have my newest location is the one that we opened in Parkdale at 6 Brock Avenue with the bakery. That's a partnership with Robinson Bread.
Which is like
So good.
such a great collaboration.
Thank you, yeah.
And I guess since we're like on that anyways, like you've done like such a great job of collaborating with like so many different businesses in the city, and like the bakery is like one of them, and that like collaborative space is like such a cool, innovative concept, and you've done a really great job. So tell us a little bit about like how you get those like partnerships and like
It just kind of happens naturally. Like you meet a lot of people through the business and through just being around and helping other businesses with their wholesale programs and just being in the shops, right? Like that's
yeah.
how I meet
Getting to
a lot
know
of people. It's just
yeah.
hanging out in the coffee shop. And so that's how I met Patty Robinson, who is the founder of Robinson Bread. She was partnered with my friend Jesse, who used to be a co-owner of Favorites, the Thai barbecue restaurant behind my Ossington store. And she was doing a lot of like bread for Paris and farmers market stuff. And I'd just been kind of like looking for a retail location for a while. So she was looking at some stuff in Parkdale. I was also looking at some stuff in Parkdale. And our mutual friend Jesse, who was kind of involved in real estate at the time too, he basically found that location for us and was like, yo, I know you're looking for a spot.
Yeah.
You're looking for a spot. This spot is too big for each of you individually, but it would be a cool idea if you paired up. And I was just like, this is exactly what I've been looking for like a decade.
Yeah, it's perfect.
That's where we went to celebrate when we signed the lease.
Yeah, that's how we. That's literally how we celebrated
Circle of
signing the
life.
lease. Like it's and it kind of like ties into like I always talk about how like coffee shops are. It's more than just like a cafe. It's not like it's where I've celebrated so many like moments in my life and like had so many like special conversations. And I mean, you talk about like even like you meet people through like your cafe. You're just sitting around and you get to know people and you network, and it feels comfortable, and it's kind of like a safe place for people to like sit and chat and get to know other people. So
That's kind of what I try to make of it too. Like it's I mean, it's very casual, right? Like my shops are they're the size of the studio space, basically. They're meant to feel intimate and easy to sort of like just end up in a conversation with somebody.
yeah.
And I don't know, I've met like I want to say most of the people I know through the shop, unless, unless it's people I knew before the shop, but it's just such an easy way to connect with strangers and in a way that's pretty disarmed.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it. And your cafe is like, even like the setup of it is just like, it's such like chill vibes. And I wanted to kind of ask about like brand identity, and like it feels very like natural the way you've like set up your cafes. Is like you seem like a very chill person, and
Yeah, I don't really think about it too much. I just
do.
Yeah, it just sort
Amazing.
of that's how it feels best.
And it's, I mean, every time I've gone there, like even the, like I like to go to the one on Ossington, which like is where I usually run into you. And it's very like, everyone's just kind of like sitting around talking, and you do sometimes end up in other people's conversations because you can't help it because they're literally like 2 seconds away from you,
Yeah,
right?
I like orienting the space, like all the seating, so
Yeah.
that everyone kind of faces each other.
Yeah.
Not in like a like at a table sort of way like this, but where you have enough separation that you can be alone if you want,
Yeah.
but you could just find yourself interjecting in a conversation if it feels right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Don't bother people if they don't want to be bothered. But
Yeah, like you got to read the room, but
Make sure they have their first sip of coffee before you bother them.
yeah, that is the disarmament right there.
But yeah, I definitely always like that corner's like, I always joke, it's like my spot. Like all of your cafes have a little corner that I love to like sit in. And like the last time we were there, I was with like one of my friends, and someone was talking about like Lebanon, for example, and I'm Lebanese, and like that's how we kind of like got into like a conversation. And
I think I was there when we were
yes,
having that.
yeah. So it's such a like, your cafes are just super chill, and like they are one of my favorite in the city. Like I truly mean that. And like you're truly like an icon in the coffee industry, and you're in so many cafes. Like
You're gassing me up here.
no, like I
it's true.
mean it. I truly mean it. Like this morning I went to Morning Parade, and I had your coffee, and
It's a great shop.
It's there are so many people that use your beans, and it's a compliment to you on like how well you've done on serving like just a great coffee. Like
Thanks. Yeah, and I just try to keep it simple and easy for other people to enjoy.
As Monica mentioned, you're a legend in the industry. But if you weren't to be in the coffee space, what do you think you would have done?
I don't know. I've been doing this so long that I haven't really thought about much else for a while. But I'd probably just help my brother with his. My brother has like a construction company up north.
Okay.
That's where I grew up in Haliburton, and I don't know.
what pushed you into like the coffee industry? Like
I fell
what
into
got
it.
you here?
I like dealing with people, and
Okay.
I like customer service. I just
Okay.
like to be helpful. It's fun and it's enjoyable, and it's nice to be nice.
Yeah.
And I worked in like retail and like skateboard shops, and I just always liked doing that kind of face-to-face stuff. And then I just randomly got like a restaurant job. Like I was working as a dishwasher for a little bit when I was in my early 20s, and they had an espresso machine. I liked using it. I wasn't really good at it, but like there was someone who worked there who was pretty good at it. And I loved seeing how stoked people were on receiving a really good coffee. Like I was just like, man, that guy's really, what a skill.
Really freaking happy about
Yeah,
that.
like I loved seeing how someone could make a really nice, beautiful coffee and hand it off, and the results are immediate. Like people are happy with nice looking coffee,
Yep.
Yeah, that first sip. Oh, so good.
and it's cool to learn how to use a machine. Like the hands-on nature of it. I love that. I met a coffee technician pretty early on at my first job, and that intrigued me a lot too. Just like the tinkering of machinery and getting inside of this thing that feels like it's radioactive at first, like it's super hot and
It's like
the
my
steam.
biggest fear is that part.
Yeah.
That part's the scary part.
Yeah, it's very like they feel dangerous.
Yeah.
So if you can
Super
master this like
intimidating.
dangerous thing, it's like it's like driving a Porsche with no seatbelt.
Great.
But it's a cool feeling.
Yeah.
Just that mastery of it, and that was kind of where I really just like fell in love with it, and I just worked at a bunch of shops after that until I felt like I needed to open my own.
That's
Wow.
awesome. Wow.
And like who taught you how to like roast coffee?
I mean, I have a huge debt to Scott Rayo for that. Like, I don't know if you've read any of his books, but I recommend them if you haven't.
Okay.
He's written a number of really incredible books about making coffee, about roasting coffee, about, I mean, he's just a wealth of knowledge. Like, I recommend anyone in the coffee business follow that guy. So he really helped me a lot out of the gate. And then I have to thank Soma Chocolate a lot as well. They were who really like gave me the facility to get started in the first place.
Amazing.
Yeah, Dave and Cynthia are the best. They're super cool. They have like the best chocolate company in Toronto. I mean, there's some really good ones. I don't want to like, throw anyone under the bus, but they're favorites of mine. And
Yeah, they're up there in the city. Like,
and they're just up the street from
crushing
me
it.
on Brock as well. So like it's a really nice community vibe that we have on that strip there.
Yeah.
But they roast all their own cacao and make all their own chocolate from like start to finish, similarly to how we do with coffee. And he had a coffee roaster, an old Diedrich roaster that was sitting in his warehouse,
Okay.
and offered me some space at a very, 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 very fair rate. Yeah, and that's how it started. It was just kind of an experiment, you know, like we were going to try to roast a little bit of coffee for the store and see how it went. And then within a year, I was like roasting all the coffee for the
Wow,
store and
amazing.
wholesaling coffee and thinking we had it really figured out. But you learn a lot in this industry as you go. And you often learn that you didn't know things as well in the past as you do.
Definitely. What do you find are some of like the challenges behind running a cafe or a roastery?
How much time you got? Yeah, it's a tough. I mean, I think any business is tough. Like, there's no business that anyone gets away with that's just like a walk in the park.
Yeah.
And it's actually I have a fortune cookie in my visor of my truck that says, "If you have a business without frustrations, you don't have a business."
True.
And
That's true.
I love when I find fortune cookies like that. That are like, this speaks
Speak right
me.
to you. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just like it's the constant entropy of everything involved. You know, like everything breaks constantly, and you're always putting out little fires, and it's like still waking up full of beans and ready to like go to war every day and be like, let's put out some fires. Like that's finding the like. It's not even motivation. It's like a discipline that I've had to develop over years of being okay with that.
I think this is like that's a constant conversation we've been having with a lot of business owners. It is that like you're constantly putting out fires, and you get to a point where it's just that's the norm. It's just like, what fire are we putting out today? It's no longer like, oh my God, like there's something going wrong.
And I really like that you mentioned it's not motivation necessarily, but it's a discipline you've developed, because sometimes the motivation's really not there. You feel discouraged, but you've developed that discipline.
When I think about it as something that I want to do, it's like I don't. Why would anyone want to do this? Like, it's you have to do it, and that's all there is to it. Like it's what you sign up for when you open a business, and
you also opened up like not a third business, but a third branch where you deal with like the repair side.
Yeah, I hired a technician, my friend Callum, and he's such a good technician. Like he's really just patient and always learning, and loves coffee, you know, and like a very cool guy to work with. So I hired him years ago, just basically to like maintain all the equipment that we have in my shops, because I think we were up to like 4 locations when he started. I've opened a bunch and closed a bunch over the years, so that kind of fluctuates a little bit. But yeah, initially he started just to maintain all the stuff in my shop so that we would have an advantage of being always operational. Nothing was ever going to break, or we'd be down for an afternoon waiting for a service call or something, because that happens too. And even like it still even happens sometimes. So with us now, it's just like it's little things instead of big things. And then we basically we're like, there's a lot of shops in Toronto that could also use this help. And a lot of service technicians were sort of outside of Toronto, so getting an emergency call might mean a day or two.
Which is a whole day of like a coffee shop with no machine is really not functioning.
Like it's not worth being open.
Yeah, it's not.
And then that's staff that have to get paid for those shifts. It's suppliers that
it's a loss of a
notice,
day, really. So
it's more than just like, oh shit, we can't sell coffee today.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, so you're literally putting out everyone's fires.
Yeah, I'm running the fire department over here. Yeah.
You took on that responsibility.
But it's rewarding, you know, like it's nice to know that businesses can operate and that we can be helpful. And
Yeah, you saved the day.
It's like giving back
try
to the
to.
community in a way. Yeah. Just
I mean, we charge for it, so
no, but even having that opportunity to provide a service, right? Like that's huge.
and it was missing before. I think
Exactly.
that's,
You found a lane that was not available really. So it's cool. Like you just seeing the like progression of the business is really cool. I mean, I remember I moved to the city in 2014 and like I think I knew one of your locations maybe, but like it's been really cool to like get to know like the brand and like all the things that you do and like seeing your like social media posts and like it's been like a really cool learning experience for me to like see the like even the service side. So it's,
yeah, we try to just keep it constantly evolving too.
Yeah.
Like it's and not like not for the sake of just doing stuff. Like I like to make measured decisions and
yeah, it's very intentional.
grow in a way that I think is going to be helpful to the company and helpful to the people that we are selling products and services to.
Yeah. And it's so cool. Like every time I go to like when a new cafe opens and like seeing your beans there, it's like it's really cool to see that like you've already like tapped into that new cafe. So it's and you are local. It's not like a chain has come in and put their beans. So it's really cool to see all these cafes that are also teaming up with you.
Yeah, and I like to support. Like I truly do think that it's key that you support local. You know, most of our wholesale customers are, like 99% are in Ontario. Even 90% of that is in Toronto. We supply Smalls in Hamilton and Luke's, which is like a pharmacy in Calgary. But outside of that, that's it. Like everyone else is local.
And that's like, I mean, that's super special. Like even you are super successful and have multiple locations and you still like tune into that, like support local. And that's like when I had reached out to you originally, it was like, I want to do this print that features 12 cafes. Like, would you be on it? And I did a roastery one and would you be on it? And you've been like I'm a very small business and you still said yes to me. So like I appreciated it. And like I try my best to support like your business. I'm addicted to the coffee. And ever since you teamed up with Robinson Bread, it's been great too because I love their pastries. So it's like it's cyclical.
Yeah, and we buy a lot of our like source product. The bakery comes from local farmers, and like all of our flour is milled locally. Like it's just it makes sense, you know. And I think I'm sure it would be nice to sell coffee worldwide.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'd be a lot more successful, but it's just a scale that I'm not really comfortable going towards. And I like to be able to go and visit the shops that we work with too.
Yeah,
like, I think that for me is nice to go in and know who's working and know the staff, know the ownership.
And like I do, like I run into you at your cafes, like you're around. Like,
yeah, I'm in there.
And it's cool to see that like you still like you're still a part of it. You're not just like sitting back while all of it like kind of runs itself. It's not.
I just don't think that works. Like I don't think that's a reality for something that is great. Like I think there's lots of businesses that do that, but I just don't know how possible it would be for what I do to work the way I want it to work if I just took a back seat on everything.
Totally. So you did bring us coffee today, and
you are drinking a nice Americano.
Is that your go-to coffee order?
No, I was just in a hurry, and
so what's your go-to coffee?
There was already
order?
cold brew made, so I just grabbed it, and I knew I always see you posting
always
your cold
always
brew
ice.
iced Americano.
Always, so. You have great ice too. Random compliment, but
we like ice that doesn't melt.
Yeah.
For a long time.
So what's your go-to coffee order?
I drink a lot of cappuccinos. I think that's my it's my favorite coffee. I love milk, and it's like, to me, it's the ultimate test of like, how's the coffee today?
Okay.
Like if I think a really good barista, that is the
that's the
mark.
test.
Yeah, like
okay. She makes if they make a good cappuccino.
Because you can make like anyone can make a good espresso, right?
Okay.
Like if you have all the right tools.
I mean,
you have to have the right
trust me.
tools and the right skills. But like I could show anyone how to make a really good espresso in an hour.
okay.
I couldn't show you how to make a really good cappuccino in, I don't know, like less than 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Like there's something about it that's like, it's timing that takes practice. It's like, you actually have to really appreciate that drink in order to make it well.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of them, even at my shop sometimes I have cappuccinos where I'm like, nah, that's not it. And it's like too thin, like
Okay.
there has to be a defined texture on the head of the cappuccino.
Yeah.
Like it should be, I always say it's like Guinness. Like if it tastes like the texture of a Guinness,
Okay.
then that's good.
Okay.
But that's
Interesting.
really,
I would never want to serve you a cappuccino after that. That's
No one
too
ever does.
scary. I don't
You
think
have
any
3
of-
months of training
None
to
of your
do.
baristas want to do it. He's like, oh no, he's here for a cappuccino.
and like I've had people that I've trained who within a couple of days, they can make a pretty good cappuccino.
Yeah.
But there's something about being able to make one every single time, like without,
Consistency.
where it's just second nature. That takes a lot of practice.
That is one thing that I do like about all your cafes, though. Like it's always consistent. It always tastes good. It doesn't matter what barista is serving it. It doesn't matter the location. Every single time I go, it is perfect. Like,
Thank you.
Truly. And that's when you have a cafe with multiple locations, it can depend. It can depend on the location, it can depend on the barista. There's so many factors.
Yeah, I worked in
And-
a lot of shops before I owned my own, and that always bothered me, was that being a barista felt like it was like a creative expression or an art form, and each barista was allowed to have their own expression of it. And I was like, well, that's very inconsistent, don't you think? Like, especially if it's a product that customers come expecting
Yeah.
something that they can rely on. And so for me, that's been a big part of like building this business, has been how do we make it easy for my staff to replicate the exact same product every single time without dumbing it down. So I'm giving them the tools, making sure that the equipment is always functioning and always dialed in. Like that's there's a lot that goes in on the back end. Like that's why I have 2 technicians who are like always in my shops weekly, like tweaking things, making sure that the water chemistry is the same at every single location. So extraction yields the same at every location,
Yeah.
and shot volumes are the same at every location. Like you're going to get the same product no
Yeah,
matter what location you go to.
I mean, someone who like doesn't understand the like mechanics and the science behind it, like I do notice it as a customer. So a huge shout out to like you and your entire team. You guys have done a really great job across the board.
Thank you. It's a compliment I get a lot, and I'm like, great. People notice it. That's exactly what I hoped for.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it's appreciated.
Because you want to like, especially when people ask me like, where should I go in the city? And it's like, I want to send people, and like, no matter who's working there, it's going to be good. Because there are some places where I'm like, I know that person's not working there today. Maybe don't go today. Like go on the day that they're working. So it's a huge shout out.
Thanks.
You've done a great job.
Well, it's
All right.
work.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate
Yeah, it's
having
my
you and
pleasure.
learning more about coffee and bean and roastery and all
The
that
extraction.
everything that goes on in the background to bring us a perfect cup of coffee, which is awesome. If you want to plug in your socials, your locations.
Yeah, you can find us at samjamescoffeebar.com. We sell all of our products on the web store there, and at Sam James Coffee Bar on Instagram. We have a YouTube channel as well now that we're like starting to do more longer form content and trying to sort of experiment with coffee content itself.
Amazing.
And like how that can, just how we can bring our own flavor to like coffee content, you know? Because there's so much of it on YouTube, and I really want to just contribute something new to that too.
Well, you have such a like, again, your brand identity is very obvious and apparent, and you have like, I'm a huge fan, like truly I appreciate you supporting me and like my business and like us, and you like, you didn't need to say yes to me, and I appreciate you saying yes from the start. And
Like I said, it's nice to be nice, and it's a pleasure to be helpful. So
I appreciate it. So thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you.
And getting to know you. I know you don't do interviews often. So
I just try to work, like I
It's-
think that's all I try to do.
I appreciate you taking the time. Honestly, I know how valuable time is. So thank you for taking time out of your day, and Hope everyone got to get to know you a little bit, and you truly are an icon. So keep crushing it and
Thanks,
keep
I will.
making good coffee.
I will.
Thank you so much.
Thank
got
you.
it.
Thank you for listening to Sip It. Make sure to stay tuned for next week's episode. Subscribe, follow, and leave us a comment on who you'd like to see us bring on in the future. See you next week.
Sip It is produced by Creator Club Downtown Toronto. Fellow entrepreneurs, if you're thinking of starting a show of your own, Creator Club offers a super simple, scalable process to create high-quality content, access to talent, and a fully equipped studio to record your content. Be sure to connect with the team at creatorclubstudios.com and follow at Creator Club Studios on Instagram for more.